Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Brittany and I look at the products marketed to photographers. And together, we figure out if they might fit your needs or need to go in the trash. If that sounds helpful, I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel. I recently picked up the BagsMart anti-theft waterproof camera case laptop bag, and I didn't quite realize what a mouthful that title was going to be, so I'm just going to call it the backpack. I reviewed the BagsMart sling camera bag a little bit ago, and I ended up liking that bag, so I decided to pick up the camera backpack to see what the other camera bags in their lineup have to offer. I'll be looking at the pricing, the material, the storage opportunities. We'll do a pack test, see how it wears, and by the end, we should have a pretty good idea of if this backpack might be worth a place in our bag collection. I like to be thorough in my bag reviews, but I know not everyone needs to know every single detail, so I'll definitely have timestamps in the description for those that might want to skip around. Alrighty, we're starting off simple and looking at how much this backpack cost. So when I was shopping, the only size available was the large, which ends up being $85. I'm not sure if they'll ever get the small or the pink color option back in, but I like the kind of Tron look of the black, and the large size just means there's more room for all my things. So I'm not terribly bummed about the sizing or the color. I do want to point out a funny little thing that appears in the details of the bag. It looks like they might have copy and pasted another product's details. So if you end up looking at this bag, just know that none of these are associated with this backpack, especially the wheels. This isn't the first time I found discrepancies in the BagsMart website, but this is the biggest flub I've stumbled upon. Luckily though, we don't have to depend on the incorrect details listed on the website. God, I forgot to unpack it. I bought the bag, so let's figure out the details on our own. My first impression of the bag is that it's sleek, solid, and sized really well. The front material is canvas-like, so it's a little rough. It'll definitely be absorbent, so if there's a chance of rain, make sure to use the separate rain cover that comes with the bag. Super nice they include that, and probably why they're able to say that it's waterproof. The back material is more mesh-like and softer to the touch. This material will definitely be a lot more comfortable if it were to come in contact with skin, which depending on the time of year and your outfit is a possibility since tank tops in the summer just feel a bit inevitable. There's no pockets on the front of the bag, which I think is what makes this backpack anti-theft. It's pretty neat and gives it a more futuristic appearance. The shoulder straps have a little padding to them, not so much that it makes them stiff and not too little that it'll be miserable to wear. I think it's a good amount to allow them to be flexible yet comfy. The main handle of the bag has a good thickness to it and the seams feel very secure. Even when the bag is completely filled and I lift it by the handle, I don't feel worried that there's going to be any sort of ripping or anything like that. The one thing I'm not too positive on is this elastic band that's on the front. I guess if the backpack was empty, we could use this to hang the bag on a hook, but it's so stretchy and I don't know how often I would empty the bag completely in order for the elastic to have a decent lifespan. It just doesn't feel incredibly secure or like it won't stretch over time. I can also see getting this caught on things depending on what I'm using the bag for. If this piece was in the back area near the shoulder straps, it'd probably make more sense to me, but it being in the front leaves me with some uncertainty. Maybe I'll start a keychain collection and display them using this elastic band. Now, when it comes to the spaces to store our gear, while I find the no front pocket design appealing, I was wondering where I was going to keep all my front pocket things. Luckily, I wasn't wondering for very long because inside this side zipper, we not only get a little window into our backpack, but there's also two smaller pockets for storage. They're not very large pockets, so my heavy-duty memory card holder won't fit, but there's definitely space for batteries and a card reader. I'm not the biggest fan of the Velcro that's securing these two pockets closed though. When I pull the flap up, I feel like the seam holding the one connector is showing a bit of pull, but that could be because there's just extra overhang. I'll definitely be keeping an eye on this flap over time though. Other exterior features include a nice snappy clip with an easily adjustable strap, along with a solid side pocket that features a stretchy band that can be used to super secure a tripod in place. Or we can fit a water bottle in this pocket, although it's a little tough to get a bottle in there when the bag is packed and on our back. There's also a strap to hook the bag over luggage, which makes it really easy to travel with. We have our laptop section that has really good padding and structure to it, and it's pretty roomy on the inside. There's another zipper pocket close to the laptop section that actually has a surprisingly large interior. I'd be careful putting bulkier items in this pocket though, because while there is some padding, there's not a ton, so whatever we put in here will be hitting our back when wearing the bag, and pokey things might get a little uncomfy over time. Inside the main compartment of our bag is where all the room for our gear and accessories is. On the flap of the backpack, there's 2 mesh zipper zones that are nicely sized, and since it is mesh, we'll be able to see exactly what is in each of these sections, so we aren't guessing or forgetting where we put something. Although I'd probably be careful putting things that could snag the mesh, as that might lead to fraying or even worse, ripping. The backpack does come with a pack of cushy dividers that we get to place on our own, so we get to choose our own adventure with the layout, or just leave them out completely if we want to pack something like clothing. The connection between the dividers and the bag feels really solid. The initial big shelf is held in place really well by inserting the strips through 2 hooks that are off to the side, and the other shelves insert well, although like most of the DIY inserts, there's some finagling that has to happen. BagsMart, however, does provide some instructions to the process of placing these dividers so that we can have a little bit of inspiration and also know how it all works. We'll get a better idea of how these dividers hold up when we pack this little dude with equipment, so let's get to testing with packability. Alright, so I'm doing 2 packing tests. The first is with my standard equipment, which includes my camera that'll have my 50mm attached. I'm putting this in the quick access spot, so I can have quick access. Then I'm putting my lenses in, a flash. The 2 meshy zipper areas will be for my memory card holder, extra batteries, and a charger. I'll slip a backup battery in the quick access Velcro flap, my laptop in the laptop area along with its charger. Then I'll slip in an external charger in the smaller side zipper pocket. The final item is my mini light stand, which is kind of similar in size to a tripod, so we can see how these clips and straps hold up. And they did a great job keeping everything in place and not slipping. All in all, for this pack, I think it's very comfortable. The items I need all fit very nicely for an evening of exploring and shooting without getting overstuffed. My next pack is for travel, so just clothes, no gear. And I feel like the space in the bag, while it appeared large for my gear, when we start packing certain clothing items based on the region or season, it really fills up fast. If I were to pack for summer, I think I could easily get a weekend of clothes along with some alternative options, as well as my phone charger, laptop charger, and mouse. But packing for fall and winter is a bit tight. I can make it work, but the structure of the bag changes just a touch, and the main zipper is really working overtime here. I actually used this bag for a weekend trip recently, and I had just enough room for 2 sweaters, 2 pants, and a t-shirt, which, depending on what you're doing on your trip, may be all you need. So because I was able to use this backpack on a trip, I'm very excited to report that wearing and traveling with the backpack was a breeze. I either had it on my back or I attached it to my husband's small wheelie case when needed. When I was wearing it, it sat close to my body, kind of like a turtle shell actually. The padded straps were able to keep my awful shoulder muscles from totally crashing out. It's kind of an interesting bag because it's got a good amount of depth to it, but it's also not super wide. So while it can fit the things I need, it also makes it a bit difficult to overstuff, which ends up meaning it never overwhelms my frame or becomes unruly when wearing. So I'd say this bag is a solid 4.1 out of 5. There's some areas where I feel not too sure about the design decisions, which is why it's not getting a perfect score. But I totally recommend this bag based on the pricing, build, and versatility. It can be used for strictly gear, Gear Plus travel packing solely for traveling. It can fit a wide array of uses, and I think that will really appeal to a lot of people. The thing I love about camera bags in general is that we never have to just choose one bag to always use. It's not like tech programs where we can get so invested and really enmeshed in the system that it's hard to make any big changes. With bags, we can pick up one, use it for a bit, then find something else we feel might fit our needs better. We are totally able to swap, mix and match, or create something that we need at that very moment. My own bag journey is a wild one that I would switch up every few years when I felt I needed either more space or a reprieve for my very tired shoulders. Camera bag options feel truly endless, which means endless possibilities in finding the right one for you. And I just think that's really, really cool. Let me know what your bag journey has been like. And if there's any bags you're curious or excited about, drop the names in the comments and hopefully I can pick them up and do a review. And bonus points if they're reasonably priced, because I don't quite have the budget for those astronomically expensive designer ones. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you had a good time looking at this BagsMart bag with me, I hope you'll consider liking, subscribing, and hitting that bell so you can be the first to know when I release something new. Happy bag packing, and I'll see you in the next one.